Calvin Ridley suspension, I think a lot of us former players, we saw it coming almost because of how serious the NFL has treated gambling since before gambling was ever anywhere near legalized, because the integrity of the shield has to remain intact for the good of all of our money, I think is like kind of the understanding. Calvin Ridley, year-long suspension. Here we are just like a year removed from that, or a year and a half removed from that, and we have 5 more guys. Is the NFL trying to just like, this is a problem? Are we thinking this is going to be a problem going forward? And how do we get in front of it? How do we stop it? And how did they find out about these particular cases?
Well, first of all, I think the way you stop it is to do what the NFL did today, which is major significant suspensions, 3 players suspended indefinitely, banishment, which means you're suspended a year and then you have the ability to reapply after that year. 2 of those players, C.J. Moore and Quinton Severs from the Alliance, have been released. The Commanders are cooperating with the NFL and still looking into the Shaka Toney suspension. The banishment suspensions, the 1 year, were for gambling on NFL games. So that is essentially similar to what, or the same as what Calvin Ridley got. So I think the message is pretty clear. If you gamble on NFL games, it's going to be a year at least. The other part of this was interesting to me as well. The Stanley Berryhill and then Jameson Williams, obviously a big name, one of the budding young stars of the league. And obviously if people play fantasy, someone who is, going to be a big fantasy name, suspended 6 games for gambling on college games from the facility. That's a rule that I think not everybody knew.
We didn't know that. We didn't know that.
Honestly, before I started this process like a month ago when I first heard about this, I did not know that either. I mean, I've read the gambling policy, and I must have missed that. So I first heard of this because I was like, wait, this is not allowed. But then it's not allowed. It's against the rules. So 6 games for those guys. Will it be the last gambling suspension? You hope so, but unfortunately, I thought Ridley would be the last one.
Yeah, we all hope that was the case, just because the money for everybody gets fucked up if people start questioning. The NFL's script thing was already running wild enough. Don't need 5 guys in the middle of the offseason getting caught for what they did in the middle of the season. You said you found out about this a month ago. How did they find out about it? If I do recall from the Calvin Ridley situation, there's some sort of AI that has the entire NFL, every NFL player, and then if that name signs up for one of these things, it kind of gets flagged and then sent and forwarded. And then is that what happened? Is that how this whole thing was caught? And how long does that take to kind of register?
So I don't know specifically how this case was caught, but I know with Ridley, he was gambling under his own name, I believe is what it was. Now, the NFL is partnered with a lot of different sports books, right? And what happens, when you're a partner or when you get the NFL license or when you work with the NFL is you also work with the NFL. And so, this specifically, I'm not sure, but I do know if you pull out your phone and if you pull out the gambling app and you place some bets, the NFL is going to know about it. And, one of the things
the location, they're like, hey, you did this actually in the building. Because your location has to get verified because you have to be in a state where it's legal.
That's exactly right.
That is actually a massive part of the problem of efficiency of logging in. If your phone, for whatever reason, cannot connect to the app and they don't know what state you're in and you're maybe traveling to another state that doesn't have it, it's like, hey, figure it out. You too. Figure out where I am. Could you please? But it's tracking you while you're in there. So that's how they knew it was in the building. And then we hear also there was coaches involved in this. Do you think they were just kind of sitting around in the cafeteria? Love what Shohei Ohtani's doing. Love, is that kind of the thought of this whole thing? And I assume they're going to make a full presentation about this to every other NFL team and NFL program. How many coaches involved in this, Ian?
Coaches, I don't know. I saw the staffers were involved. I'm not sure if it was coaches.
People staffers, equipment managers can't bet on a fucking NBA game in the building?
What's that about?
What are they doing?
Give them a break.
These guys are washing jocks.
Let them live.
No, hey. I know you're joking, but this is if you were someone trying to get inside info, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and it is really scary out there. I'm getting ready to go to Kansas City for the draft on Sunday. I was in Vegas last year. I was not allowed to gamble while I was in Vegas on a work trip. Rules are rules, and there are reasons for it. And NFL players have different rules than say personnel people or equipment managers or whatever, but there are rules, and the hope is that the integrity of the game stays as it is, and we can all do this for a very long time and have, what is to me the greatest sport. And part of the way to do it is to keep it real and legit. And that's why these punishments, I think, are necessary.
Agreed completely. We're on your side. I think everybody that works in the NFL had the same thought. Everybody that was outside the NFL looking in was like, he's getting a year versus what other people are getting. And it's like, we agree. Like, those other shit are very serious and terrible. But, like, the shield, God has to. The shield has to remain as, like, what is happening out here is actual competition, actual sport. Everybody is attempting to do their thing, even though there's sometimes in other sports where Mark Cuban could get fined $750,000 and then donate another $750 on top and say, fuck everybody. Yeah, Luke is actually playing one quarter tonight. All you gamblers out there, or one quarter, get as much as you can. He ain't playing the rest because there's a chance we can go get somebody else. Ian, we appreciate your coverage on this entire thing. I'm excited to see what the NFL forces every other NFL building to do now.
I just find it kind of weird that it's only in the Lions building. Like, was somebody there that was a bookie?
Commanders too, I think, right?
One guy from the Commanders.
One Commanders, yeah.
Yeah, but it was three of them in the same building. Like, was some guy there a bookie?
No, I think it was on an app, right?
Was it on the app?
It was on an app?
I don't know, but it does seem like the players were gambling together. Like, there are 4 Lions, and it does seem like whatever they were doing. Not all the same infraction, but, same. I mean, they're all, except for Cephas, he's a special teamer, they're all receivers.
So, we will say, as friends who have gambled together,
right?
A team ride is a good time.
Great time.
It's the best.
A team ride is a good time. And I understand how that could potentially build a little camaraderie. Especially if you guys hit. We're the smartest people on earth.
Yep.
If you lose, same thing. Man, we're so fucking dumb.
We're so close.
Next one.
Don't need NFL guys doing it. Okay, when you retire, wait till you get to see. You'll get to do all this. It'll be so much fun. It's going to be tough to mandate and regulate. Hopefully, they're able to handle it because that cannot become something that becomes real. And to all those guys, hope you learned your lesson. To everybody else, fuck it, you're going to have to go through a 45-minute to hour and a half thing that the NFL is going to mandate for entire buildings. And the people that are going to fuck up will not listen to a single hour and a half of it. For the people that won't fuck up, an hour and a half of your day will be spent listening to bullshit. So the NFL will do everything it can to stop this, but we just need the humans to stop being fucking stupid, I think, Ian, which I guess is a broader point.
I mean, that could apply to many, many, many things.
Yeah.
But I would say that education process has already started. I know there's, some agencies now who, in the wake of this have said, hey, there's a long gambling policy. Obviously, you're going to get presentations, but like, here are the 5 things you just can't do no matter what. And like the fact that, just being completely honest, like I didn't feel great about the fact that I didn't know that players couldn't gamble inside the facility until this whole situation arose. And like, I should have been better educated. Players should be better educated because this is mainly because the ramifications are so serious.
Thank you, Ian.
You have to know.
Thank you for taking ownership of your fuck up of this whole thing.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you. Hey, you know what? You're a good guy.
You are
The best.
Ian, you don't know every rule in there? You're not Tom Pelissero. That's why you got him. He
right.
actually gets memos plugged into his brain.
I need to ask Tom. What I should have done is quiz Tom beforehand to see if he knew this.
Oh,
rule.
yeah, Ian.
Yeah, he definitely did. That came out in 1997. There was a full-on update to the itinerary about when and where you can do it, and they tracked everybody's phone. There was something that was sitting right there. Those cards. Oh, yeah, gambling in the building at all.
Mm-hmm.
So Gilbert Arenas brings 2 guns in the locker room because of a Blu-ray debt, okay, over in Washington in a different league. Then the next day, everybody was fake upset that we were all potentially gambling in every other locker room in every other sport. Do you remember this?
Yeah, and then they tried to stop all the gambling.
Everything, They just came in, they're like, well, we told you guys you weren't allowed to do this. And it was like, this has been happening for the last 50 years in the NFL. Okay, this has been, but we've told you you're not allowed to do it. And then they had like gambling enforcers almost, like people in the building were like, hey, you need to go keep an eye on the locker room. And if there's any cards or dice or anything else going on, you have to remind them that that is not allowed in our locker room. And that's because what Gilbert Arenas, what happened with that whole situation. The NFL they're going
to protect the shield.
There will be a big on the other side of this for all the players.
Yes.
And hopefully that'll be enough to get the message through. But I do fear, like in most things, those who are going to fuck up aren't going to listen.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to have to learn their lesson. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up everything for everybody.